It's important to have these examples to kind of put into view of how weathering, erosion, and deposition all play a part in changing the landforms. So weathering, we break down rock. Erosion, we take that rock away, and then deposition, we put that rock or that sediment now into a different location. Okay? Alright, so now let's do like a compare and contrast for weathering, erosion, and then we'll talk about deposition. Okay, so how are they the same? What have you written on your paper?
They both shape Earth's surface.
Okay, so they both shape Earth's surface. So both what do they use?
Things like ice, water, and wind.
Okay, so they both use ice, water, and wind. And then, is there another one?
Yes.
What else did you put?
Weathering and erosion both shape Earth's surface.
Alright, we got that. Both shape Earth's surface. And then we got ice, water, and wind.
Yes, and weathering and erosion both create new landforms.
Good. So they create new landforms. Okay? Now, what makes them different? How can we tell these two apart when we're talking about weathering and erosion? So let's talk about weathering. What are some things that is different? So now we're contrasting it against erosion.
Weathering softens rock.
Okay, so it has to soften the rock. Okay, and then what does it do?
It breaks down the rock.
Okay, so then it breaks down the rock. And then what does it do?
It creates sediments.
It creates sediments. And do you remember what sediments are?
Sediments are like the pieces of rocks and stuff.
Right, so that can include like dirt, soil. It's like little bitty pieces of the rock. It breaks it all up into now little bitty sediments. Okay, and what's another one?
It causes physical, biological, and chemical weathering.
Yes, so it causes physical weathering, biological weathering, and chemical weathering. So when we talk about physical weathering, what are we talking about? What is physical weathering?
Physical weathering is like the physical things of the earth.
Right, so it has to physically break the rock. Physical changes. So it's doing something. It's whether it's the wind that's pounding other sediments against that rock, the water is dripping on the rock over and over and causing changes. It's the physical force of weathering. Okay? What about biological? Do you remember what biological weathering is?
No, not really.
Okay. Do you remember what bio means?
Bio means life.
Life, okay? So if bio means life, and we're talking about biological weathering.
Oh, I remember now.
Tell me.
Biological weathering is like animals and people breaking down rock.
Yes, so biological weathering is where animals on the PowerPoint, the little holes that were in the sand, against the sand, animals, snakes, armadillos, anything that can dig a hole or break through the soil, break through the landform. So anything living makes physical changes by weathering. Okay, and what about chemical?
Chemical is, I think it's like when acid rain goes against rock.
Yes, so chemical weathering is when chemical forces break down the rock. And your great example is acid rain. When acid rain falls, it wears away the rock. Perfect. Okay, so is that all for weathering?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now let's talk about erosion. What are some things that are different or that you can contrast against weathering?
Erosion moves sediment.
Okay, so this is the movement.